Dr. Dex here. Today I want to talk to you about Skilsaw's new carpentry chainsaw adapted tool. This thing is a monster. I'm really excited about it. There's some really cool features that I want to go over. But first and foremost, if you breathe air, click that subscribe button because that's how we get you to our content. I really appreciate it. Thanks for subscribing. If you want to be notified every time we're putting out fresh content, click that bell icon as well. All right, enough of that. So what we have here is a tool that Skilsaw came out with that they've adapted with a chainsaw head on it, which I use another tool quite often. It's a beam cutter, and it's very similar to this. But what I like about this particular product is it comes with an oil container on the top, which lubricates the chain, and I've never had a adapted saw like this that could do that before. So I'm really excited. It's gonna help keep the blade cooler and help us keep our straights cutter, keep our chain sharper longer, so there's less sharpening or chain swapping in between. This is a 16-inch chain that we're using. It's got a safety plate on the bottom, so you're not bottoming out on dirt or rocks or anything like that. I'm going to use this mostly for cutting beams on my decks and for cutting out stair jacks. So I don't have any 2x12 today, but I do have some nice 6x12 beams, so we're going to run a couple sample cuts for you. The first thing when I pulled it out of the box that I really admired was how it has its own carrying case. My other saws that are similar to this are just loosely thrown in my job site trailer on a shelf. This one you can actually clamp down in two different spots, and even this handle has a spot for transport. So there's a hole up here that you can put this handle so it compacts really tightly, and there's a clip on each side that holds the saw to the base. There's even sheath storage so you can cover up your chain and keep it protected, and then have a place to put the sheath when you're in action. So this is something that's been a long time coming. I'm glad to see they finally came out with it. I haven't even used it yet. It's brand spanking new, so I want to kind of get going on some cutting. But before I do, there's just a couple things I wanted to share with you. I read over the directions really quick and a couple features that they were putting out that I thought would be interesting. There's a back bevel setting on the saw. So if you're gang cutting TJI joists or a bunch of 2x that are all sandwiched together or something, you can actually loosen this and put a 5-degree tilt into the base plate. What that does is it kicks the bottom of the saw blade forward so that you're cutting from the bottom through the top. This is going to help be a safer cut, and it's going to help it so that your material is not falling on your feet as you're cutting. It's going to drop them in sequence instead of all at once. So that's kind of a cool feature that they thought of. For accuracy, we're going to keep that baby locked in at 90 for what I'm doing. There's also a rafter hook over here, so that's kind of cool. So you can slap that in, hang it from different various locations. That's always a nice feature to have on your saw as well. And then there's a chain tensioner right here. So as your chain heats up and it starts to loosen up, or if it feels too tight, you can loosen it or tighten it right here, which is, again, nice feature. And a handle right here, which again is removable, and you can put here for transportation, which I really like. So those are some of the other features. There's an anti-kickback bar on the back, so you're not cutting yourself if the chain breaks. And that's about it. There's a plate removal, like a bar removal dial right here. I'm not going to get into that right now as far as removing that or how to replace it. A cool thing is it's a magnesium base plate, so it's got a little bit of heft to it, but you kind of want that in a saw like this. You don't want to sit here and have something super light and you can like just woohoo throw it around. This thing is kind of a burly tool. It's meant for cutting through some big beefy material, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a square line on this beam and see how close I can get to cutting it square. We'll see how I do. I haven't used this yet, so this will be a great test. All right, and when cutting lumber, it's always good to wear a pair of safety glasses. You ready? Okay. So you can see it kicks out quite a bit of sawdust. You can guide that with your sawdust port. Some of you may even hook up a sawdust collector. We don't really have any collectors on our job site, so that's something I don't use a whole lot of. The cut, not bad for a beam. I would probably go through and maybe belt sand this a little smoother if this was an exposed cut on a beam, but it's pretty square. Let's take a look. Yeah, not bad. Not a bad cut. I'm in. So, you know, obviously the chain's brand new, so you can tell that the cut's going to be better when it's a brand new chain. But, you know, if you keep your actions sharp, you're always going to get a nice cut on a saw like this. That's just one good purpose for using this saw. You can do bevels, notches. That's another cool thing is you can actually cut on angle with this saw. So you can unlock it and turn this up to a 45, I think. Oh, it'll go actually to a 60. Wow, that's crazy. So it'll lock on 45, or you can hit this tab and go up to a 60-degree bevel, which is pretty good. So that's obviously is going to have a diminished capacity for how thick of a material you're cutting, but it is a really cool feature for a beam saw or carpentry saw like this. So I'm really excited to be using this on the job site. We will be doing more reviews on this saw, especially when I start cutting some stair jacks with it. So we'll continue to give you updates about this saw. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please click the subscribe button or the bell icon if you want to be notified of future updates. Thank you very much. Have a great day.